So this is just kind of a variation of the other wheel building video there that I made, which this one's more a different method of actually lacing up the wheel. You know, this is kind of, again, if you want to center up the logo there, this is going to be a 2-cross wheel, but this particular method is the way that I basically learned, you know, how and what I see a lot of videos, you know, teaching or whatever or whatnot. But anyway, you know, got your first keyhole spoke there. You know, it's going to go from the outside in as far as on the hub flange, and it's going to be going into the hole there just directly counterclockwise or to the left of your valve hole. You know, this particular rim, it's got the washers, you know, along with the nipple there, so I'll kind of go through and do the method I used to get all that in there at one time. So basically, once you get your first spoke in, you'll skip a hole and then stick your spoke in, or actually in this case I'm just going to go ahead and at that point every other hole just go ahead and feed your spokes in there. And you notice I've got, you know, to the left hand side of the pile of spokes, that's going to be the longer non-drive side, and on the right side there is going to be the shorter drive side spokes. I think there's about a 2 millimeter or so difference is about average. But so we got the key spoke, and there's going to be 3 holes in between, so then the 4th hole will be where we're going to stick our next spoke there. And you know, that's at this point there's enough slack in there where you can just push your spoke through and feed the washer and nipple. But anyway, just work all the way around. At this point, every 4th hole there is, you know, where the spoke's going to go in, and you just continue this little pattern all the way through, and it's pretty straightforward. But you know, typically this isn't the method I use, but this, you know, I'd say for somebody just getting started building wheels, this is probably by far the easiest method, just to visualize and, you know, count your holes and just follow the pattern. It's pretty straightforward. But you know, that's basically what you're going to end up with once you get all the spokes connected. So what you want to do here is just you know, kind of visually look, make sure all your spokes are evenly spaced, the right holes apart. Flip your wheel over, and then if you just kind of look, you know, look at the hub, you're going to want to pick the hole that's just directly clockwise of any of the given spokes there. You know, it's going to be, you know, just to the right there, just, you know, 1/2 a degree clockwise there. So you want to feed that one in from the outside in, you know, of the non-drive side flange there. And basically this is my little tool. It's basically an old spoke with the end broken off, and so I'll just feed that up through there, put my washer and you know, then the nipple, and then from there you can just pull it on down through. I have a little nipple driver, kind of a little hex head. You know, these nipples have a little hex like a nut on the end, so it's just kind of a little nut driver there that you can push down on. It holds the spoke in place there. You know, another way, if this didn't have the washers, you could basically just put the spoke nipple in the driver and push it straight in. Would be a lot quicker, but since you have that washer, you have to do a little different method. But once I get that first spoke in, you just, every other hole, kind of like the first side, you just feed your spokes in, and yeah, just follow you know, count the same number of holes, or you know, you can kind of just visually look at, you know, the spoke on the drive side and line up the spoke on the non-drive side there with it, and you know, but basically you'll continue across. This is how you're going to end up once you get this side done. Then you'll grab your spokes off the short stack, or the dry side spokes, and then just drop them in, you know, from the inside out, or you know, going the opposite direction, but just feed them in the you know, the holes that are open now on the drive side. And I'll just kind of let my spokes lay over, flip the wheel over again, And this is a 24 hole wheel, and we're using a 2-cross pattern. So you'll want to kind of torque the, there's a valve stem hole. You want to torque the spokes where they're aiming away from that valve stem hole there. And you basically there's your spoke. You're going to cross over 1 and 2 spokes, and you'll kind of form like a little triangle there, and you'll have that group of 3 spokes that are together. The second spoke that you cross over, you're going to you'll skip the 1 hole of the other side, and then that hole right there where I've got the silver spoke going through, that's where you're going to end up. So we're just pulling our nipple through, and that's basically feed that one in there. And from here you're just gonna be careful not to, if you're doing a wheel like this, not to drop your nipple in there, because it's a major pain to get that thing out of there, the washer and the nipple, if you get it stuck down in there. But yeah, at this point you just follow along the pattern. You can go with the next following spoke, and you can count your spokes there if need be, if you need like a reminder. But you kind of can visually see the pattern after the first one, and you just want to keep following that pattern there, and you're going to end up with 1 hole randomly spaced every 4 holes, and that's going to where eventually your other side will go in. But basically just keep following this pattern here. It's pretty straightforward. Just kind of stay focused on what you're doing, and visually look overall at it every now and again to make sure you didn't accidentally thread one of the spokes into the wrong hole. But yeah, that's it. Just basically follow this pattern. Getting all the spokes in here. So we got that side done. We got one more side on the outer spokes there. So basically what I'll do is take the last remaining spokes and just drop them again from the inside out on that non-drive side, and just kind of lift the wheel up, let the spokes, let them just lay over, so that way they don't fall out when you flip the wheel over. Just kind of let them fall into place there. Flip your wheel over, and yeah, then you just do you can look at there's your one spoke to cross over, and there's number 2. So you go up, underneath, and then there's going to be a hole right there ready for you to put this one in. So it gets actually pretty straightforward. There's only once you flip it over, that spoke's only going to be long enough to really go into 1 hole. So it's pretty hard to screw it up at this point, although it it definitely can be done. I think that's built wheels is that's typically where you'll make your mistakes, is getting one of the spokes in the a hole too soon, or trying to stretch it too far, or I don't know, maybe getting the wrong size spokes is a pretty common issue, mistake early on. But it's all, my other video I did the calculations and such, and as long as you get good calculations, you pretty much know pretty quick if you have put a spoke in the wrong hole. It's either going to be way too much slack in the spokes, or you're going to be really stretching and you won't quite be able to get the nipple threaded onto your spoke there. So, but yeah, basically this is I think that might be the last one, just following along in that pattern. At this point, what I like to do is on the outer spokes there, I'll just kind of push in on them and kind of seat them in place. And then what I'll do, if you got your correct spoke length, tension and everything. So there we're kind of just seating the spokes, the outer spokes there. They'll kind of typically bend over just a little, and then from here, to kind of get your tension pre-started, I'll usually thread each nipple just to the end of where the threads start there on the spoke. So that usually, if you can do that, get them all the way done. And if there's still quite a bit of slack, you might just run around, give each nipple one more turn. But basically you want to just keep, once you do this, and then if need be, give them one more turn. But that gets you in a pretty good position to start truing your wheel. Nothing should be, should be fairly straight at that point. It just needs to be tensioned and trued up. But and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the finished product, and thanks for watching.